Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh Shemel, Shabbat Shemakakodash, Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there. Shalom to you all. Anyway, I'm going to give this title. The title for this video is Revelation 11, verse 3 to 8. I'm not going to read the whole. I may read a couple verses beyond that. I might read all the way up to 11 from Revelation 3 to 11, but I know I'm going to go Revelation 11, 3 to 8, concerning the two witnesses. And also the secondary title is You Got to Be Like Sharp Eye Washington, always on the case. That's, if you know what I'm talking about, you old heads, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You young heads, I'm going over your heads before your time. It's from a movie. Anyway, so this is a video, interview with ICGJC tells this side of the story. Okay, I wanted to do this. I got to find this. I got to find where it was written, where they go into the two witnesses. I'll find it. You know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Because that's the part where Vocab Malone, a.k.a. Satan, pulls out a big Bible. Okay, here it is right there. Okay, that's got to be it. 1 minute, 1 hour, 26 minutes, 54 seconds. So we're at 21:42. So I want you to listen. I don't know if they got this from us. I don't know if the Spurs dealing with them, but they do mention the MOTB. And like I said, we're going to focus on the two witnesses because there was a question asked concerning the two witnesses. The Basil said that the two witnesses is going to emerge, and one of them is Tazadakia. So that means he would have to rise from the dead. I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. But if he does rise from the dead and he's one of the two witnesses, Vocab, good interview because Vocab asked some good questions. Vocab's getting better at his interviews. And it was more in the Bible. That's why he pulled out the scripture real quick concerning the two witnesses. But anyway, they said that the two witnesses, Tazadakia was one of them. And so Vocab said, well, there was two witnesses. Who's the other one? And Basil said, well, they all said, we don't know. But how can you know that one is Tazadak is one of them, and you don't know who the other one is now? The way it was taught years ago, the two witnesses are referring to two men, Zerubbabel and Joshua. Now, if you go into the scriptures, I'm not going to go. I'll be here all day, breaking it all down. When you go into the rebuilding of Jerusalem, by the decree of Cyrus, he was a ruler of the Persian Mede Empire. He financed the building of it, but he had long died. So when it was time to build, I forget the particular ruler at that time. Could have been Osiris, which is Xerxes. I got to go into. I'm not going to go all into it. That's for another lesson, because then it'll turn into a history class. But anyway, there was a controversy and about whether they're supposed to get finance to rebuild Jerusalem after the destruction of Jerusalem by the Babylonians, really led by the Edomites. The Edomites were the main ones. That's also in the Apocrypha. What is that? First Ezra's, I believe, 4. We'll go to First Ezra's in the Apocrypha. It told you that it was the Edomites that was behind all of that. They were egging on the Babylonians. Just burn. Don't take them. Just burn it down. Burn it down. You know. So Cyrus, put out the order that it's going to get rebuilt, and the finances is here. But he long died. You had kings that came after him. There was a controversy, so they had to go to the records, showing you that they kept records. That's why Esau keeps records. Esau, and when you go to the court, you ever been in the court system? You ever been in the DMV? They got a record of all your driving infractions. If you started driving at 20 years old, well, I got my license at 20. I was driving at 19, even before 19. We used to jump in cars, do all kind of crazy shit when I was a kid. But I actually got my license 20, but I knew how to drive before that. But so when I got my license, you get going through a red light, speeding, whatever. When you go before the judge, they got your record. You look at your records, they go back all the way back. Yeah, this is back when you were 20, you did this, you did that. And they notice through the years, the older you get, the less infractions you get. You become more of a cautious driver, I'll say. Safer driver. That's why insurance go down. But that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, they had a record. They had records back there. So then what they did was they checked the records, and they said, yes, Cyrus did make a decree that the rebuilding of Jerusalem, that we're going to finance it. So they financed it. They honored. And just like Esau has statues of George Washington, and they'll quote George Washington and Lincoln and make movies. Alexander the Greek. They honor the ones before them. So they had great honor for Cyrus or Karash or Cyrus. So they said, okay, we're gonna give you the monies to rebuild it. So when they were rebuilding it, they had some pushback by the nations round about, because they were thinking that they were Israelites, because they got the laws, the whole thing with the second. There's a lot of history. This is why Christians can't keep up to us, because there's a lot of history in the scriptures that link up perfectly with secular history. So the key men, I may even go to the scriptures, but like I said, if I go into all these different scriptures and cut the things that I said in the last 5 minutes, if I go all into the precepts and the history, we'll be here all day. So the key men was Zerubbabel, which he was the governor of Judah during the time of the Babylonian. He lived during the time of the Babylonian Empire, and during the time of you had a lot of prophets back there, not just Daniel. You had Jeremiah, you had Isaiah, you had all those prophets. Just like you got the gathering of the prophets now. A lot of you brothers, one of you was Isaiah, one of you was Jeremiah, one of you this Obadiah, one of you that guy, this guy, that guy, the other. The ones of you that are truly, you're part of the elect, you are one of those prophets coming back. That's why, look, I couldn't help myself but come up in not even 7 o'clock, and I have to do a video. And I got a feeling I'm gonna do maybe 2-3 videos today, because the Spirit's working, man. You brothers out there, you men, you that are elders, that are now veterans, you guys, I don't got to get on the phone and call Dallas and say, look, y'all ain't doing enough videos. If anything, I'll tell them, slow down, you're doing too many videos. But that's the Spirit. That name just came to mind. But there's a lot of brothers, man, that are just, the Spirit just jumped on them, and they can't stop. They won't stop. Most High, the Spirit is working with them. Now, let me not go into you guys that are with your hands in your pocket, because Most High gonna kick you in the ass, get you the hell out of here. Anyway, So when you read the scriptures, if you do a word search on Zerubbabel, just Zerubbabel, look up the word Zerubbabel, read some of the precepts. It speaks about the and I did it in a previous video yesterday, that the heads were Zerubbabel and Joshua the high priest, the son of Josedek. Zerubbabel was the son of Shealtiel. Um, and Joshua was a Levite. Zerubbabel was a Judite. And then it mentions, and the other men, there were other men. Ezra was one of them, if I'm not mistaken. Help me out, y'all. I'm not going to look for it. A lot of history there, a lot of history. But then it mentions, and the prophets, and the prophets. So the prophets were under the key men that the Most High was dealing with at that time. He was dealing with the prophets, but the key men he was dealing with was Zerubbabel, number one, and Joshua the high priest, number two. So now, when I first came to school in the early mid 80s, 84, 85, 85, Barak came in, I think in the beginning of 85, maybe the end of 84. General Yohana came in a couple of months after I did. Ariala came in a couple of months after he did. And that's when everything opened up. Because the seven were a little bit tired. They wasn't really going out. They were, but they needed like a recharge. So the Most High brought a lot of young men in, and we were all on fire. And we all went to camp. All of us, Johanna, all of us went to camp. We were the young guys that built their spirit back up, so to speak, recharged their batteries. But so you always had a leadership. So when Arya first, went into the breakdown of Revelation 11 concerning the two witnesses, he broke it down one way, but it was complicated because he went into Joshua, Zerubbabel, and Joshua. These are the two candlesticks and all that. It said that there were men wonder that. He said that the two witnesses represented Zerubbabel and Joshua the high priest. But then many years later, he said it's talking about Judah and Israel. In other words, made it a little simplified. So now when you go into Revelation chapter 11, which we're going to go into, and I'm going to focus on verse 3 to verse 8, and I may go even to verse 11. The two witnesses are referring to Zerubbabel and Joshua, the high priest. And when it speaks about them being put to death by the beast rising up and put them to death, still talking about Zerubbabel, Joshua, the high priest. But then in a macro sense, it's talking about all of Israel. It's talking about Judah and Levi. I mean, kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel. So when these guys started speaking about the two witnesses, the two witnesses this and the two witnesses that, Hazdaki is one of the two witnesses. We don't know who the other one is, but when the two witnesses come, blase, we're going to go back to Jerusalem before the implementation of the mark of the beast. That's what Basil said. I'm going to let you hear it. Oh, when my name came up, they all started laughing. Oh, what about Tahar? They all started laughing. Then he kept bringing up Tahar because he said Tahar would be number 8. So the 7 is not here. So Tahar is the de facto leader, which I'm not. Hey, do what you do. I ain't no leader. I'm just leader of the GM, one of the leaders of GMS. That's it. I'm not gonna deal with a whole bunch. Look, we all come to follow you, Tahar. Yeah, y'all got to get straight. But then they started going into hell. Oh, yeah, is Tahar going to hell? Oh, yeah, he's going to hell. He's going to burn in hell. He's going to burn in the lake of fire, which is a fairy tale. which is a fairy tale. Ain't no hell that you burn in the lake of fire. So anyway, I said a whole lot, but let me go right here. I'm at the 21 minute 42-second mark. So I should go back a little bit, but let's listen. And I believe they got that. Let me let you listen. Let me shut the hell up.
But I think some people grabbed the screenshots. I even seen you with the screenshot. And took these two men that don't have any authority at all to speak on anything. They put their misunderstanding on social media, okay? And then everybody ran wild with that. There's no teaching in the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ that we were supposed to be in Jerusalem in 2020. That's not the truth, okay? That's just a flat out.
I remember something in 2010, y'all were laughing and said something's gonna happen in 2012. And people saying that y'all plan on going back to Jerusalem. Like I said, I'm just hearing bits and pieces of it. So he's just addressing that. But the 2020 thing, that they're going back to Jerusalem. So he's explaining it.
A lie. There's no teaching in the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ, period, that the date of us, a biblical prophecy of us exiting out of America is, there's no date taught to that, okay? What's taught is prophecy. Like, prime example, we know when the full implementation of the mark of the beast comes, we will not be here. We meaning the leadership of the nation of Israel will not be here. We mean we taught to that, okay? What's taught is prophecy. Like, prime example, we know when the full implementation of the mark of the beast comes, we will not be here. We meaning the leadership of the nation of Israel will not be here. There's no, we meaning, so when the full implementation of the mark of the beast comes, we will not be here. We meaning the leadership of the nation of Israel will not be here. There's no teaching that all of Israel is going through the Atlantic Ocean. Like, this stuff is just madness. Like, all of these things that you say is prophecies that people say that, yeah, these are prophecies that failed and different things like that. They can never post a video proof of it.
Yeah,
you're dealing with people that never studied.
I did see screenshots, now that you brought it up. You're saying that the leadership will go across the Atlantic Ocean, but not everybody else?
The leadership is the ones that's going back to Jerusalem. Yes. Initially.
Will that?
So he's saying, I guess he's saying the Atlantic Ocean, I guess they're going to go on boats. So that's what he's saying. He hasn't come out and said it, but if you go over the Atlantic Ocean, that means you're on a boat. Maybe you're on a plane. So you heard what he said. 21 minutes, almost 22 minutes in, and I played it a couple of times, that he said the implementation of the MOTB, we're going to go back like before it. So they're not going to get chipped. But I don't know if they're talking about, I don't know what they mean by what they mean by the implementation of the MOTB. I don't know if they're talking about sin in all of its forms, whether religious or political, or they're talking about the the RFID CHIP. I don't know, because he didn't go into it, and vocab didn't expound upon it or ask even further what you mean by that, so he didn't break it down. So now, anyway, let's go over here to, and I'm going to invest in a asbestos suit just in case I go to hell. I'll be good. So that's a Roman Catholic doctrine.
The thing that probably gave me the most peace, right? We're one income family, and
no. So Revelation 8, that's not talking about the two women. Meaning men that walk on the earth.
Who were two specific Israelites who received, going all the way back to the days of ancient Egypt.
You're saying like Tazadakia and the other witness
prosecute and deal and handle them, you know, and under their
Look how they talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Right.
Well, I get all kinds of people in here.
And I'm gonna say this: I don't know these individuals, never met them. They came in long after I left, but this level of scriptures that we know, if we add some certain scriptures about the certain questions about the scriptures, breaking this down, breaking that down, they'll be baffled. They're all gonna get baffled. As you're gonna see, they're on a low level, man. So let's listen. Oh, they even said Judas Iscariot is buried in hell. Judas Iscariot, well, even on the comment board, it says somewhere around here. Oh, this is Built for Speed 101. If Tahar is out of order, but didn't he get his teachings from Ariyah? So they're obviously talking about me. So let's listen. Okay, here it is. Judas went to hell because he committed suicide. Well, guess what? In case you didn't know, Saul committed suicide, and Samuel said before he committed suicide, Samuel said tomorrow at this time, tomorrow, merely paraphrasing, you will be with me. The me is your spirit. It's not talking about a body. It's not talking about being in the grave. It's talking about your spirit will be you'll be hanging out with me in the spirit realm tomorrow. That's what Samuel said, in the spirit. Going to the witch of Endor, which Endor, the word Endor is mentioned in the Star Wars series. I believe it's Empire Strike Back, that he was gonna go to the Dagobah system, but they mentioned Endor. So that Star Wars thing, they got a lot of that from the scriptures. And Dagobah means do war. We're going to the Dagobah system, the Dagobah system. Da meaning do, and Gabah meaning war. Learn how to fight. A Jedi Knight. Jedi Knight is a Judite knight, because the original knights were Judites, were the kingdom of Judah. All the secret society, the concept of the secret societies came from Jake. Esau is not original at all. Everything he got from us. And my Yeshaya voice. We ain't getting it, we already got it. Anyway, let's listen.
Right.
What's the
I mean,
They call Jesus Christ the Lord of the Flies, vocab.
yeah, I mean, I get all kinds of people in here. I mean, you guys said you've.
And you notice they say Jesus Christ. They say they don't say Yahushai. And then they get on us for using the term Yahushai. You got to watch this whole. You watch the whole thing if you want, if you can stomach it.
Been building, there's growth and stuff. Has there been a cathedral built? I heard there was supposed to be a cathedral built. Is that?
Oh, that was years ago. That was the early 2000s. They're gonna build a crystal cathedral. They're collecting money. That never happened.
Is that true, or am I wrong?
No, there hasn't been a cathedral built.
But I know for a fact. I remember the unit, whatever, 1 unit, Mary, whatever. That's when you start going to that. And a Catholics worship in the cathedral. And Catholic just means universal. That's all it means. And I remember when they said that, they were pushing that thing out, with collecting monies to build that crystal cathedral, a cathedral. You notice how his head turned. He said, nah, I never said. I saw it, and many other brothers saw it.
What was there supposed to be, or?
There will be. I think would be the proper way to phrase that. So,
okay, so there will be a cathedral. I don't know if you're talking about the Kingdom of Heaven, the New Jerusalem. I don't know what he's talking about. They're not going into detail.
or
Okay.
answer that. There will be, yes.
What's something I just want to point this out, vocab. What you have to understand: the government of the nation of Israel is going, doing the second Exodus, which is also biblical, which is also prophecy.
Okay, so he said the governors or the government will do a second Exodus. They didn't bring out any scripture, so I really don't know what they're talking about. I don't know if they're talking about when the Lord comes, delivers them, and this, that, and the third. So you should have asked more questions. You should have been more assertive.
And individuals leaving with us, but there's still going to be a presence here in America that's going to be up under the sovereignty of the nation of Israel.
So that means they're gonna have to take the chip.
And they, they're not going to. Nobody's going to be allowed to just handle them, try to prosecute and deal and handle them, and under their jurisdiction. They're going to be under the jurisdiction of the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ when we set back up in the land of Jerusalem. So,
Yes.
So they're gonna go back, I assume, before the missiles, because the missiles are definitely gonna destroy Israel. So maybe the missiles are never gonna come, according to them, and they're gonna set up a kingdom in Jerusalem. Do you know how hard it is to deal with them small hats? Them small hats, man. They've been in there for so many years for a reason. So this is kind of all over the place. This is foreign to me.
Explain that. What's the second Exodus?
That's prophecy. That's biblical prophecy.
No, I mean, what exactly is it?
Give me the prophecy. I don't know what you mean. Could you mean when the Lord comes? That's the second. I don't know what you mean.
I don't know how you would define it exactly.
Yeah, the way the Bible defines it. The Lord our God, the power is going to be disseminated back to the nation of Israel, to the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ, according to doctrine. And this was touched on by our brother Saint Basil a little bit earlier in the segment. That these two witnesses actually give power unto two witnesses. Okay, one of those witnesses is clearly the Holy Apostle and Chief High Priest Tazadakia, the Holy God sent Comforter. The other witness is yet to be revealed. But the power of God, and the Bible talks about they being able to plague.
So they're anticipating this Tazadakia, to rise from the dead. I won't hold my breath on that one. And I hope they don't either, because they're going to drop dead. They're going to join them. So they're pushing to the congregation that the God sent Comforter, the Holy Spirit, will raise from the dead, even though he died, even though C-19 got him. I don't know how that happened. If he's a God sent Comforter, the Holy Spirit, he's going to rise back up and he's going to be one of the witnesses, but we don't know who the other witness says. What is Amos 3:7 says? Most I will do nothing, but he revealed his secrets unto the servants and prophets. So they got to tell you who the other one is. One is in a spiritual realm or dead, and the other one, we don't know who he is.
The earth as often as they will, have an unimaginable power that's going to devastate this country in ways that this country and the world has not seen, going all the way back to the days of ancient Egypt.
So you're saying like Tazadakia and the other witness will have incredible supernatural powers and they'll be destroying America? Is that what you're saying?
That's going to ultimately allude to the second Exodus, is the devastation of this country through the power of God being given back to the nation of Israel. Okay, being given back to those two witnesses. And so ultimately what's going to take place is that once this place is decimated, that's going to lead to us exiting out of America. And the power of God is...
Yeah, but you said there's going to be when you exited, you said that. Go back, y'all. You said that the government is going to leave, but there's going to be people here. And you just said that, let me bring it back. Let me bring this back.
Power of God being given back to the nation of Israel. Okay, being given back to those two witnesses. And so ultimately what's going to take place is that once this place is decimated, that's going to lead to us exiting out of America.
Once this place is decimated, look up the word decimated. Somebody give me the definition of decimated. It said once this place, America, is decimated, I believe that means, if I'm not mistaken, totally destroyed, right? But they said about 2 minutes before that Oh, when the government goes back, there's going to be people here still in America running it over here in America. So you lost me on that one.
And the power
Let me
of God
ask-
is gonna be. Mhm.
Bishop, let me say something, because
Sure.
I seen the way that vocab you phrased that, right? Let me ask you a question. Moses and Aaron, right? Would you consider that supernatural power that devastated the ancient Egypt?
Yeah, well, God worked miracles through the hands of Moses, no doubt, and the 10
Right, right.
plagues. I mean,
Right.
God used
I'm sorry.
Moses. Obviously, they're from Yahweh, but yeah, I don't doubt that. I
Right.
mean, I guess I've never heard it. I've heard it, Hebrew Israelites. I've heard one Wester say that
Right.
we'll receive superpowers. We'll be like Marvel superheroes. That's what they'll. I've never heard, but I don't know everything, so I'm not saying it doesn't. I've never heard that specifically two witnesses who are two specific Israelites will receive like an extra portion of the powers. I just haven't heard that specifically, unless I'm not tracking with you.
Right. So that's not to say that the rest of the rest of the nation won't get power after things come in stages. Okay. So things come in stages, and prophecy unfolds in stages. They are prophecies about how we will run up on walls and everything like that, and have that,
Bo Jackson did
power.
it.
He said there's prophecies where we will run up on walls. I believe he's talking about Joel 2, which has nothing to do with Israelites. It's talking about the missiles.
You seen that clip?
Yeah,
No
I saw the
joke. I'm
clip,
not.
but
It's amazing.
No,
like Bo
I
Jackson,
saw, yeah.
he's going for that fly ball, and he
Right.
literally just goes up on the wall. It's amazing.
Right.
Anyways, if you got to watch everyone. Bo Jackson
saw it.
Spider. Yeah, it's a
Yeah, Bo Jackson is an Israelite. That's why he's able to do that. We used to do that shit, is climb up walls and shit, run up walls.
All right, I got distracted.
Yeah, I saw it.
Go ahead.
So
I'm an 80s,
problem.
90s kid. Go ahead.
Right. But the reason that I'm saying that is, like, people will hear, like, people just heard the bishop go through that, right? And these are people that claim to believe in the Bible. And they act like he just said something that was foreign. Like it's something that's unimaginable. Like Moses and Aaron wasn't human beings, men that walked on the earth that did these same things. So if you can look at something that God said he's going to do again, he said he's going to do all of these things again.
Yeah, but
right?
the two witnesses
And
are going to be killed.
Say that again?
The two witnesses are going to be killed according to the book of Revelation. And they're-
Is that
Yeah.
in
what-
Revelation, I'll show you. And they're-
is that
the two witnesses are going to.
things again. You can look at something that God said he's going to do again. He said he's going to do all of these things again.
Yeah, but
Right.
the two witnesses
And
are going to
you-
be killed.
Say that again?
The two witnesses are going to be killed according to the book of Revelation. And they're-
is that
Yeah.
in
What is it?
Revelation, I'll show you. But it says
let's go to
that they'll be killed, and that people will give each other gifts in exchange because they'll be happy. Sorry, oops.
No, you right there. You're not
No, I think
tracking.
yeah.
You're not tracking.
You get
prophecy,
confused
right?
with Revelations
Right.
11 and 8 on down.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The two
Right.
witnesses.
So So Revelations 8, that's not talking about the two witnesses. Okay. Revelations 8 is not talking. Revelations 11 and 8 down is not speaking about the two witnesses. Revelations 11 and 8 is speaking about the nation of Israel on a whole. Revelations 11 and 8 is the same thing that's occurring in Ezekiel, the 37th chapter. This is why
Well, it
precept
says-
upon precept.
Revelation 11:3 says, "I will grant authority to my two witnesses, and they will prophesy for 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth." These,
Right.
referring to the witnesses just described, are the two olive
Right.
trees and the two lampstands that stand before the Lord of the earth. And if anyone would harm them, fire pours from their mouth. That's what you're referring to, and consumes
Right.
their foes. If anyone would harm them, this is how he is doomed to be killed. They have the power to shut the sky that no rain may fall during the days of their prophesying, and they have power over the waters to turn them into blood and to strike the earth with every kind of plague as often as they desire. And when they have finished their testimony, the beast that rises from the bottomless pit will make war on them and conquer them and kill them. And their bodies will lie in the street of the great city that symbolically is called Sodom and Egypt, where their Lord was crucified. So if Tazadaki is a witness, wouldn't he be killed according to that? Or what am I missing?
No. Yeah. So what you're missing is, again, where you started at with
Okay, so I'll say it this way. Both of them are right. The two witnesses represent, on a macro level, the Israelites. The two witnesses also represent Zerubbabel and Joshua, Joshua the high priest. Matter of fact, let me do this. Joshua the high priest. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Okay. And he showed me Joshua the high priest standing before the angel of the Lord, and Satan standing at his right hand to resist him, fight him. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Satan, the Lord Yahweh, rebuke thee, O Satan, even Yahweh that have chosen Jerusalem Jerusalem is a people for us a place, Israelites, rebuke thee. Is not this a brand plucked out of the fire? Now Joshua, Yahushai, was clothed with filthy garments and stood before the angel. And he answered and spake unto those that stood before him, saying, take away the filthy garments from him. And unto him he said, behold, I have caused thine iniquity to pass from thee, and I will clothe thee with change of raiment. And I said, let them set a fair mitre. Now, High Priest Ariel was always known for wearing a mitre on his head. Upon his head, so they set a fair mitre upon his head and clothed him with garments, and the angel of Yahweh stood by. And the angel Yahweh protested unto Joshua, saying, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, if thou wilt walk in my ways, and if thou wilt keep my charge, then thou shalt also judge my house, which are the Israelites, and shall also keep my court. Ultimately, that's the kingdom. And I will give thee place to walk among these that stand by the branch. Hear now, O Yahweh, which is Joshua the high priest, thou and thy fellows, who are his fellows, Zerubbabel, which is the first guy, the first individual, Zerubbabel, known as the governor of Judah during the Babylonian Empire, going into the Persian Mede Empire. Remember, they were living this was during the time of the Persian Mede Empire. Fellows that sit before thee, for they are men wondered at. Who are men wondered at? The prophets. Why you think hey, we are men, we represent those men that are wondered at too. All right. Notice it said men, it didn't say man. Joshua is talking about men, and thy fellows. Starting with Zerubbabel. Second in command will be Joshua, Yahushai. And said, for they are men wondered at. Hey, they're speaking, Vocab got his video going, and my name comes up, and I'm pretty sure, Vocab, he speaks about the One Westers. He speaks about myself. He speaks about GMS. He speaks about IUIC. He's going to have a debate with Captain Tazariak concerning the virgin birth, which he's going to get smashed. And I hope they play it live, so I'll check it out and give my commentary. But he's going to get smashed. So far, y'all that say, well, Tahar never said nothing good about the ISUPK and the IUIC. I'm saying something good about the ISUPK right now. I said Captain Tazariak going to smash this guy. So let me read this again. Here now, O Yahushai, the high priest, thou and thy fellows that sit before, and like I said, I'm not going to go to the precept. Somebody can put it in there. It speaks about Zerubbabel and Joshua, the high priest, the son of Josedek. And then it says the other men, and Ezra was a part of that. And it says, and the prophets. So that's what it's talking about. for they are men wondered at. All these Christians, well, these guys, I know where they're speaking at. They're speaking on the corner by the Dunkin' Donuts, by the statue of George Washington on such and on Main Street and Caliber Street, whatever. I'm bugging, and they'll come down with their scriptures, and they'll get cut up. For behold, I will bring forth my servant, the branch. The branch represents Yahweh, but it also represents Zerubbabel. Then it goes down from there. So those are the two witnesses. For behold, the stone that I have laid before Yahweh, upon one stone shall be 7 eyes. Hold up. Wait a minute. The seven candlesticks, right? It speaks about the 7 candlesticks. Who received the prophecies in Revelation to give to the 7 candlesticks, which had 7 eyes, 7 powers. Matter of fact, let me do this. Let me do this. See if it goes directly to, all right. Let me do it this way. Okay. I know it says 7 candlesticks. I'll just see where else it says 7 eyes. Ah, 7 eyes. But in Revelation 1, it says 7 candlesticks. And that's what I just read. For behold, is the stone that I have laid before Yahweh upon one stone shall be 7 eyes. Behold, so when you go to Revelation 5, the 7 eyes represent the full power of the Messiah. Behold, I will engrave the graven thereof, saith the Lord of hosts, or Yahweh of hosts, and I will remove the iniquity of that land in what? In one day. So that's talking about the Most High is going to bless us, but it's also talking about when he removes iniquity. Iniquity represents sin, wickedness, right? What land is going to be wickedness going to be removed in one day? This place, Babylon the Great. Because when the Most High kills everybody, ain't nobody going to do no wickedness. Ain't nobody going to do righteousness or no wickedness. So he's going to remove the iniquity, and that's twofold. But it's referring ultimately to America. So will Zerubbabel and Joshua the high priest be raised back up before or after the destruction? Because that's where the change is going to come. That's when the new covenant fully kicks in. In that day, saith Yahweh of hosts, shall ye call every man his neighbor under the vine and under the fig tree. That's ultimately talking about the kingdom of heaven. It was talking about back then because they're going to be put back in order, but then they went off again. This time, when this destruction comes, there ain't going to be no more. If like people ask me, what if an Edomite breaks a law? Do you sacrifice for them? They're not going to break a law because they're going to get broken legs and broken heads. When you was in hardcore slavery, was you able to do what the hell you want? No, the slave, they had the taskmasters watching your ass. You couldn't do nothing. You could work, sleep, get up, work again, eat. When you're going to dishonor the Christian Sabbath, they'll beat you to death. Give me a second. Anyway, let me do this. Bear with me for a minute. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, one of these precepts says the prophets. Let me do this. Here it is right here. Then rose up Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and Jeshua, the son of Josedek, and began to build the house of the Most High, which is at Jerusalem. And with them were the prophets of the Most High helping them. So who was over who? Was Zerubbabel and Jeshua over the prophets? Yes, they're chief men. I want to do something. It says Joshua in one place and Jeshua right here. Let me see something. Bear with me for a minute. An exiled priest who returned with Zerubbabel. Anyway, let's come over here. I want to go to Revelation 11 and 3. Now it says Jeshua in one place and Joshua in another place. Okay, so we're going to go to the third verse. And we're going to show you that it's talking about the two. That's why Vocab said what he said, the two witnesses, which represent two witnesses, Zerubbabel and Joshua. But it also represents Israel. So let's read it. It says, and I will give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days clothed in sackcloth. That represents the two, but it also represents Israel on the macro level. It says, these are the two olive trees and the two candlesticks standing before the power of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. It's still talking about the two witnesses, the subject. We're dealing with the subject. So they're saying that Tazadaka is going to raise back up from the dead. He's going to have spiritual power with another guy. They don't know who he is, which, like I said, I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. And I advise those guys not to hold their breath either, because they're going to wind up in the spirit world. He ain't rising back up and doing nothing. So they're keeping that lie going for their congregation. They're zombies. These have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the day of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them into blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. So they got the congregation thinking that Tazadaki going to raise from the dead. Oh my goodness, he raised back. That's him. It's Tazadaki. And he has spiritual power. And who's this other guy? And when who's the they? Who's the they? What's the subject? Two witnesses. Still talking about the two witnesses. Now, I understand that they said it's talking about Israel because on a macro level it is. And when they shall finish their testimony, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit. When did this happen? Give me a date. Give me a key date. When did this happen? Shall make war against them and shall overcome them. The them is the two witnesses, and kill them. Like I said, I understand it in the macro level is talking about Israel. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city. Yes, the two witnesses, they're dead. So let's have a good time. Lie in the street of the great city. The great city is what? Babylon the Great. It says that city. It says that city. I believe that's Revelation chapter 17. Matter of fact, let me double check that. Let me just put in the word city. That great city. So we know that it's talking about the U.S., America. And the winepress was trodden without the city. Revelation 16 and 19. And the great city was divided into three parts. Three parts represent what? Sons of the Most High, sons of men, and sons of the wicked. And the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon, the great city, came in remembrance before the Most High to give unto her the cup of the wine of his fierceness, of the fierceness of his wrath. That's the missiles. Revelation 17, 18, verse 18. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So you got scholars, let me come back over here. Scholars saying that the great city, now the great city is Babylon. You got scholars say, well, let's talk about Jerusalem, because our Lord was crucified here. Crucified means to be crucified again, meaning crossed out of your mind, killed out of your, destroyed out of your mind. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is America, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Jerusalem is not Sodom and Egypt. All right, where also our Lord was crucified. That's what gets these scholars all messed up. And they are the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, 350 years. So we know it's talking about Israel, but it's still talking about these two witnesses on a micro level. So you got to qualify it. And shall not, that's why Vocab asked that question. But wait a minute, wasn't they both put to death? And shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves, because they're not physically dead. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them, and make them is the two witnesses. But we know on a macro level it's talking about Israel. Got to keep saying it. And make merry and shall send gifts one to another, because these two prophets, these two prophets tormented them that dwell on the earth. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, the two prophets, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. I'm surprised he saw them make a movie about this, put their spin on it. Oh my goodness, that's the two prophets that died and they came back and they really look angry. And they heard a great, in other words, you're not going to get no two, the Tazadak ain't going to raise from the dead and then have, he ain't going to come back like Magneto and shit. He ain't the second coming of Magneto or Pyro. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, the them is two witnesses, the subject matter is two witnesses. It says the two prophets, right? Hold up. Where does it say that? It says two prophets. It says two prophets. So y'all should know the rest. It says stood upon the feet and great fell upon them. And they heard a great, and you got to understand that the scriptures are written in code. You just can't come out right and explain it because they would ban the scriptures. You got to speak in code. Hey, the police speak in code. They speak in code. They'll say certain things. They'll use certain numbers. You know, like in the criminal code in California is 187 is a murder. So in the hip hop world, they'll say 187. So the police, they'll say this has been a 187, meaning somebody got murdered. All right. So they'll get the detectives involved. Anyway, it says, and they heard so this is written in code. That's why these scholars get confused when they go into Revelation, even all the other prophecies. It says, come up hither and ascend, and they ascended up to heaven in the cloud, and their enemies beheld them, and the same hour was it great. Now this is referring to, like I said, on a macro level, it's referring to the Israelites. And a great city is going to be destroyed by a great earthquake, by the missiles hitting it. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. Shalom.